So look, yeah. So the whole 116 clique is like, I think people gotta understand it's like, man, we were friends before there was ever a label. We were roommates at the University of North Texas. We were guys who were just running around, loving Jesus, doing a bunch of good things and bad things in the name of the Lord. Fast forward, traveled together, toured the world together. Fast forward to 2011, 2012, I leave the label. There was a lot of tension from a couple paradigms, and I can't get too much into it because it's just some of it is personal. But it's hard when you're a part of a group of individuals and you leave that group, and that group of friends still kind of travel and do their thing, and you're no longer in that circle. And part of the tension was why I left, and some of those reasons will probably never become public. Nothing immoral, sinful. It's just some strong disagreements, and that also happened to create tension in our relationships, and not just myself and Lecrae, just other people in the label. And when you have a strong friendship for over 10 years, you think that you can make it through that, but what tended to happen was like communication started like falling apart, and we stopped talking to each other. And then when you start to see each other, it becomes kind of awkward. It's like, hey, are we still friends? Are we still cool? And then things are said and things happen. That creates more tension because you're not around each other, and so you don't know whether like, oh, wait, hold up, was that said like to disrespect me or yada yada. And so the moral of the story to me is that I think oftentimes we have a lot of theology about relationships and marriage, like opposite sex relationships, but I don't think we have really a really healthy theology of like same-sex friendships. And one of the things that I've learned is that sometimes we put too much, we assume relationships, right? You put too much expectation on a person. They become your heroes, they become your idols within friends, and then sometimes you don't go to Jesus, you go to these people to solve your problems. And then sometimes I also got to understand we have to define friendships within your boy. Like, I'm your boy. Like, no matter what happens, you'll say, I ride with you. But then when things happen, they're not there, right? So I think we got to understand how to be committed to one another. Also, make sure that we communicate well. And I'm trying to share as much without like implicating myself or other people. But it basically, so when I say I hated him, it was more, it's a little hyperbole. I didn't hate him, but I didn't really like him a lot because there were some things that I felt like were, I just didn't understand. And then through us kind of reconciling our relationships, you start to learn things about one another. And it's almost like you're relearning as well. And it's like, man, like you have a lot of pressure in your life, and he recognizes vice versa. And the same thing goes with other people in the label, people who aren't artists, but probably people who worked with the label, that you have to begin to reconcile relationships in your life. But I think the one thing that really took it from, like for the last couple of years, we've been growing closer. But I think the thing that took it from like, man, we're cool, to back to like, we're great, was Fish's death. And I think Fish's death really kind of made a lot of people realize like how important friendship was, but not only how important, how Fish was a uniter, like how Fish was a unifier, because not only within our circle, he was a unifier within the cross movement reach circle, with the kind of like the KJ52s and the tunnel, like he had all these different, and I think that was the beauty of Intermission, was that he brought all these different circles together, and he was a blessing in that. And so I remember the day of his funeral, a lot of us were just sitting around talking, and it was just like, man, we must value our relationships a little more. Like, we have to understand, like, these moments don't last forever, and we have to honor our relationships and our friendships in ways that may seem unmanly. Like, why are we so ashamed to say I love you? Why are we so ashamed to really pour our heart and our burdens out to one another? let's be real, let's be authentic at every opportunity and every turn, so that Satan, as the scriptures say, like, encourage one another as long as it's called today, so that our hearts won't be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. And so I think that's kind of like what I've learned in that relationship, from going from having a great relationship to struggling now, going back to not only appreciating him and the rest of the camp, but loving them more, and recognizing not only what they've done for me, but what they do for other people within our circle. So.